Hello, folks. Sorry to keep you waiting. Had a few technical difficulties as I had installed a new version of OBS, and apparently when you do that, it might lose some settings, like where's the screen? It no longer speaks to the camera until you update your camera plugins and so forth. So sorry about that. Hello and welcome back to the stream. Do say hello. Say hi. Hey, Mud Shark. Good to have you. And somebody else is lurking. I hope you say hello. Hi, it's Javier. Hey, it's the regular crew. Hey, we've got a few more folks. Hello, Rick Meister, 89. Good to have you back. So, let me, hey, Janos, 94. Welcome. Good to have you all. Let's see, there was let me see if I can find it real fast. This great article. Just a second. Here it is. I found it. All right. Let me share my screen once I get all set up here. All right. All right. So, welcome back to trying to convert this to from Objective-C to Swift, trying to do so in a clean way. Unfortunately, I've gotten twisted on my sort of tripped over my shoelaces. Rick Meister unfortunately missed last week. Excited to be able to join today. I'm glad to have you. I've tripped over my shoelaces in trying to convert. And let's just refresh where we are. So tests pass, but I have one disabled. You can see that here. If I bring this back into play, as I should, we'll see the test failure. The failure is about popover. Popover is the thing that we discovered last time. I hadn't swizzled it in Objective-C because I could just fake out the Objective-C. Let's see if I can find that. And view controller, I think is, wait a second. Bear with me. I thought we were in, I don't even remember where we are. Not there. Where are we? Oh, there it is. There's the Swift version. Okay. And in here, we have a mess. It is just a mess. I'm not liking this mess. There's this popover stuff we started to try, and the popover is the let me back up here. The way it worked in Objective-C, where's the popover? Why can't I find it? I've not had a chance to watch last week's stream to catch up. Been very busy studying. Well, good for you. There's no shame in missing this. It just rolls on, and but it's sorry, my brain. I had just, like finally just sat and fixed OBS and sat down and started. So I'm not quite there. Let's find the mock. Oh, come on, come on, come on, come on. All right. Let me back up and let's get this test to pass. And then I'll find the thing. That is, to get it to pass, I'm going to not swizzle something. I'm going to set it back to the Objective-C version. Mock popover 2. That is... sorry about this. I thought I could just roll it back. If I can't, that's bad. Janos, and boy, Janos gets some fancy splashy things there. Wasn't here for a while. John, do you receive Twitch partner somehow, or it's this lower level partnership which makes subs? Yeah, yes, I did get partnership. So I added some thingies. I don't think I'll get any value from it, but it hopefully makes it more fun for you to add some fun emojis. I do apologize. Replace instance method. Let me just experiment a second here. Well, that definitely doesn't work. I thought I had it. And I'm kicking myself now, as you can see. That by essentially saying, well, we're going to fix forward, I'll just leave that test disabled until we get it all working, that I may have boxed myself into a bad corner inadvertently instead of staying in green. Bad John. Bad John. Here, I've got a thing. Make smaller changes, John. All right. Well, let's start by fixing things. The popover is not working. This is an alert verifier popover. Which comes to UI popover presentation controller, which is nil. Big sigh. We'll get there. Hang on. I need to, you know what I need to do? I need to breathe for a second. I'm rushing. I'm like panicked because you're all here and I wasn't ready. Say, go for it. Take a breath, John. I'm bouncing around like a madman, and I should just say, let's come back here. Let's figure out what we've swizzled and where things were in the Objective-C side. Like, wasn't it all still there? So here's, okay, finally. Here's the mock popover in Objective-C, which says for popover presentation controller, return this thing, which is not a popover UI popover presentation controller. It is a QCO Q-coding mock popover presentation controller. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to essentially take away the type information by casting it to ID, meaning a thing. I should print this make smaller changes on sticky card and stick it on my screen when I think about changes which I have to make in work. In coming days, do not push to big merge requests. Yeah. Gosh, it is one of the biggest things to lean into, and especially like as I work with teams, I'm like, can you make the PR smaller? Can you make the PR smaller? Okay, the PR is small now. Can we just, who all is here? You know, we need an approval. Well, we happen to have a few people here. Well, that's dumb. Can't we just, if we can't just push it to trunk or to main, well then open a PR there, approved by the other people in this ensemble. Auto merge, done, keep going. Small steps. So finally found our way back, at least to where things were in Objective-C. I made one of these and I said, remove that type information. You don't need to know who it is. Just talk to it as if you were a UI popover presentation controller. And here, this, I'd forgotten, context. This is the same as UI popover presentation controller, but the arrow direction this here. This was read only. And I said, you know what? Make it read right. Talk to me. It's all the same, except I'm going to make that read right. And that's not going to work in Swift. Woo. So we actually need to swizzle this. I can't just swap out one thing for another, which is a shame. That's one of the things I loved about Objective-C. It doesn't matter what you talk to as long as it gets the job done. That's dynamic programming. But now we live in a strict world. All right. So I still want to get back to green before I dive into creating this discovery tree idea. So it is, this is the thing that is no longer being called. Init QCO mock with title. So if I go back to the Swift, where I am now going to QCO mock, here we go. Is this it? I think this is it. It took a long time. So here I'm saying call this thing below with QCO mock with title 2. Let's set this back and let's get back to not green, crash, crap. Ay. Execute action for button with title with non-existent title. And that complained that extra properties was not found. Crap. Muchark, what you got for me? I think it broke when he tried to use the style from the UI alert controller that you passed into the method. Yes, that's sounding familiar. Oh my, 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 my. What a mess. Okay, so my big takeaway, if you disable a test to say temporarily, it's failing, we want to get it to pass, we're going to do this other stuff to get it to pass. If you can't get it to pass in that session, bring it back to life and like turn off the thing you were working on. You can leave it there. Ay, ay, ay. Right, so here, if there was that thing of making sure that I don't like call myself by mistake because this is swizzled to init message preferred style. That's where it would like blow the stack last time. And that's why we have this other thing to say this is title message preferred style, title message preferred style. My gosh, why can't I get back? I set this back and I don't go in here, then it's not going to do this associated object stuff. And instead it should go over here, which doesn't have the associated object. It has the old way of doing it. Boy, I've screwed myself. But the only reason I needed the associated object was to be able to jam in something to preferred style. Through this hack of saying, I'm going to redeclare the property as read-write. It's like, we can't do that, so I created the associated property or associated object to hold extra properties. Ay, ay, ay. All right. Let me run tests and see where this is dying. And let's see, first, let's check if we're blowing the stack or not. Kind of, what kind of helpful thing is that? There we go. Okay, we're not blowing the stack. But we are getting this fatal error when we try to get the extra properties. It's trying to get the extra properties when it calls to preferred style. Oh no. Ah, alas. Because I swizzled out preferred style. Okay, so I think I know how to proceed. Let me stop the debugger. And let's go back up to where I replaced preferred style. Let's not swizzle this. Okay, we're green. All right. Chaos. I'm going to check this in as like whatever the heck else was going on. Let me see what we have here. First, it's like, don't swizzle that because this is swizzled to use this thing that QCO mock with title 2 is setting up. So we're setting that back. Oh, yeah. And all this from bringing this test back into play. This is good. So this is going to be I'm not liking this. I'm really nervous. I'm putting a bang bang on it. Bring test back. All right. I'm pretty sure that the other thing I did, which would never fly on a team, is I made those commits to turn off, to disable that test, but I didn't push it because I didn't want to break anyone who's using this project, which means that if I were on a team and the origin, the stuff on the remote, if that kept moving forward, then my branch would get out of drift. It would fall further and further behind. Things not to do. The only reason I could survive is that, as far as I know, I'm the only one because there are no PRs because I'm the owner. All right. Now, let's step back and let's start again. Start over. And I'm going to use something that I learned from this wonderful blog post or article. I just read it like this morning. And for me, this morning is, it's still morning. So I just read this a couple hours ago and I thought, this is what I want to do. It is a way of organizing work. That's not linear. It's in a tree structure, and it uses FizzBuzz as a great example of breaking it down and saying, okay, we need FizzBuzz as a string. We need buzz. Pay no attention to the fact that fizz is missing. They actually omit that so that they can say, oops, we forgot this thing on purpose, right? And then it's like, okay, but to get started, we really need CI/CD. And then what do we need for CI/CD? And it's a way to break things down into a tree, but it's also a way to visualize very quickly what's going on and what do we need to do without spending time exploring all the things and tasking everything out. So let's do that. And I'm going to use this mural board rather than my my whiteboard, because my whiteboard, I use it every day. And so I erase it. And I need this to be persistent. So let's start. Instead of creating a sticky note, I'm going to create an area. And the reason this will be peculiar to whatever you use for virtual whiteboards, but I want to be able to you can't put stuff inside of a sticky. Let's make this a nice sticky color. That's too yellow. How about that? And this is the project. So this is the top level. This is obj the to Swift of conversion. Uh-oh, won't it? There we go. And we know that it's in view controller presentation SPY, but I may as well I can just stick it in there. Well, not a title. All right. Now, to do this, so what I want to do, my original thought was I need to work more in Mikado method style, but then I'm like, this is sort of like it, but it's better. It's a little different. The Mikado method is strictly about refactoring. And so it's purely in a developer's world. For this, though, this can be very much along the lines of our well, any development. Now, let's find there. The SPY has 3 verifiers. There's alert verifier. There's, oops, presentation verifier. Hello, Uli Witness. Good to have your first time chat. If you don't mind sharing, where in the world you are, that's always fun to learn. So one thing that's a little not nice about this is that I need to make the titles, the stickies big, because the title doesn't wrap. Your name seems familiar, and that's an interesting topic you have here. No idea when I followed you, but I did. Hey, welcome. Yeah, where are you? Germany. Great. Nice to have you. Wish I could get back to Germany someday and hang out with folks like you. Uh-oh. Sorry. Javier. It looks like my bot kept you from posting a link. And I need to like maybe tell it like Javier's okay. Let him through. Could you post it like without the HTTPS and I can turn whatever you oh yeah, I can turn it into a link and we can explore it together. All right, we have 3 verifiers. These are the things I need to convert. As soon as these are all converted, this thing will be good to go. Okay, and let's make some arrows. Not arrows necessarily. I mean, they are dependencies, so I suppose they can be arrows, but it doesn't really matter. I'm just making a tree here. And this way, if I move things around, yeah, okay. So we're working in alert verifier. These are the other things that we need to do. And part of the technique of the discovery tree, and this was this comes from 2 very fascinating people, Quinn Gill and Ron Cortell in Seattle, Washington in the United States. Ron is the inventor of a type of agility that I find fascinating called fast agile. And part of it's like, let's just, how to put it? I shouldn't summarize Fast Agile when I have never experienced it. This is sort of one of my first steps into it, but it's basically Agile on steroids. Okay. Javier, I was going to share with you that you can actually use QuickTime to share your iPad or iPhone screen if you have a whiteboard app on your iOS device that you preferred. It's actually quite simple and fast, no extra software needed. Yeah. So I don't even I don't have an iPad. My wife has an iPad. I don't have an iPad. I am starting to think about it as a nice way maybe of having sort of the best of both worlds. That is a whiteboard that I can actually draw on without having to use software. So yeah, thank you. All right, so let me zoom out here. Let's move these over because we need to drill down to this one, and we're not going to drill down to these. We know we need to do them. Let's drill down into what do we need for alert verifier to work. And alert verifier is already in Swift, but it uses where is it do its swizzling? Maybe it doesn't. Like, where does it do decide when a UI view controller should be swizzled? UI alert controller should be swizzled. Let's see if we can't find out. Like what? Where does the swizzling actually begin? QCO mock swizzle. All right, what calls this? Alert verifier does. There we go. There it is. That's what we need to swizzle. And there's our list of things. UI alert action is swizzled. UI alert controller is swizzled. UI view controller is swizzled. And then there's some sort of toggle. So these are the things. And I started with UI view controller for some reason. Here we go. So there's that. We don't know about ordering exactly, but there. All right. So this is going to get a little nicer. Come on. Hook on. I feel like I'm discovering through the process of getting all tangled what I should have done in the first place. And isn't that how we learn? One thing about when I first started test-driven development, I did it poorly. And that's okay. When you first start writing microtests, or by that I mean what most people call unit tests, your first tests are going to be not that great. That's okay. That's how we learn. The important thing is to actually have some sort of feedback about this is awkward and should be better. Clearly, we ran it into that in our case because I thought, oh, we'll quickly go back and I'll re-enable this test. It's probably one thing I need to reset, and I got all tangled up. So here are the 3 things that we need to swizzle. Let me just check. So this is toggling. It must be a Boolean. Yep. Just to know, have I done this swizzling or not? All right, so these are the 3. I chose UI view controller for some reason. QC, what's this? Wait a second. It seems a little different from what I was expecting. UI alert control. Okay, UI alert controller came first. That's why I'm confused. So I can reorder things and say, let's keep things left to right. UI alert controller. And inside of here, it's like, okay, we need to replace this initializer. So let's keep diving down. So there's the initializer. There is sorry, hang on a second. Hopefully I'm still live. Am I still live? Because I lost my, I use a little phone app to control it, to control OBS, and it's not talking. Hope everything is still working on your end and that the recording is going. All right, so we've got this. We've got the initializer. We fought with UI alert controller preferred style. So QuickTime Player just shows a USB connected iPad or phone as webcam. Yeah, that's interesting. Short frame drop, but now you seem back. Thank you for letting me know. Yep, looks like an ad break. Okay, must have been a burp. Okay, so preferred style was read-only. Oh, come on. I've got some sort of internet trouble here. You by ad break, you really mean an ad? No kidding. Wow, I thought you were just being funny. Geez. Okay, so here's clearly a downside of working in a virtual or cloud-based thing. Come on now. Okay, a refresh did it. All right, fine. So preferred style was read-only, so let me add some things. Come on, grab in there. We went down the initializer and it is actually even the initializer. It's not really done, is it? It's not done at all. I had to set it back. Whoop. Come back, come back, come back. I'm still going. Here's where I set it back to the Objective-C. Okay. So preferred style doesn't fall under UI alert controller. It's like I need to do this in order to get the initializer going. Yay. And to do that, I had to do add extra properties. That's one thing. More room. I guess I can just go actually like this. Yeah. There were two things I needed to do. One was make extra properties, and the other was three things. Add preferred style into the extra properties. And then I had to swizzle preferred style. Whee! And that worked. Right? Now, now we have, in addition to preferred style, I think exploring all this is going to be what we do. Like, I don't think I'm going to be doing any more coding, and that's okay, because this is valuable. I was getting so lost, so tangled. All right, so preferred style is one thing. The other thing is to mock that popover presentation. Wow, what's happening here? Oh, okay, it's still going off to the Objective-C side. Right? We've got probably a replacement down here that is popover presentation controller 2 or something like that. Anyway, we really need the popover presentation controller. Yeah, swizzling. The reason I'm doing this, I didn't even turn on my coffee. Like I've got a nice thing here to keep my coffee warm. And it was been getting colder and colder this whole time because I didn't have it turned on because I was that flustered. So there's preferred style, there's popover. The reason I'm swizzling is because that's exactly how this this works. Is it swizzles away? Yeah, it swizzles away the alerts so that instead of presenting an alert for real, it captures it captures the information about what you would present to make your tests lightning fast. And so it's easy then to write unit tests or micro tests that say, have the actual code do present a real, well, it thinks it's a real alert controller. In fact, it's been swizzled to something that just records what you put in there. All right, we've got preferred style, we've got popover. and there's stuff we need for popover. In order to get popover to work, I have to actually swizzle something else where I didn't have to before. And that is our, let me find it here. Popover presentation controller. So it's UI popover presentation controller. We need to swizzle this. That. And it doesn't really matter if these arrows, if these boxes are like, in a team setting, this is about as much as we would have on there, except maybe a few more words, but not many, because the whole point is that it's a placeholder for a conversation, not a bunch of requirements. All right, let's finish this up soon. Not even the problem with popover. Okay, I'm going to break this. The problem with popover is that it needed something else that was read-only. The arrow directions. Arrow direction. This is what's getting in our way. So essentially I need to swizzle that, and then do something very much like these. This is going to be add arrow direction and swizzle arrow direction. There we go. This is how deep and nasty this is. Much worse than I thought it would be, because in Objective-C, it was easy. I didn't have to swizzle half of this stuff. All right. Now, let's do one more thing about yes, hang on a second. Let's get coffee warmer in here. Warm coffee. There we go. Now, so far, yes, I do use app code as much as possible. Now, something else about discovery trees. Why do I have to keep refreshing here? Is the temptation, especially for developers, is to get lost in the weeds and say, we need to keep exploring the details. It's also a temptation for product managers or scrum masters to say, you've got to break everything down. Like we have to subtask all the things. Well, that's just big design up front, and it's a waste, because it's you're creating in lean terms, you're creating inventory. Inventory is piling up and it's not shipping. So let me show you something. given zibs are pretty much dead, so back to app code, that's actually finally a viable option. I tried it out back when it came out, but then they merged IB into Xcode, and I had to have both running anyway. Exactly. If you use zibs or storyboards, app code for a while, during the time when it was still zibs, they were like, well, we can reverse engineer how Apple does that. And it was a little awkward, but it kind of worked to have like zib editing inside of app code. And then Apple went, whoop, we're doing storyboards. And at that point, not IntelliJ, JetBrains, the folks who make app code, wisely said, well, we're not keeping up. We are not keeping up. Yeah. And so they dropped it. So I use, actually, most of the projects I work on, they don't even have storyboards anymore. It's all programmatic. But there are still some that do. If you double click on a storyboard, or try to open a storyboard or a zib in app code, it'll say, oh, sure. It'll open it in Xcode. So you mainly use CLion. So you're very familiar with JetBrains products. Yeah, they are really quite nice. All right, back to here. So the temptation is to map everything out. Let's not do that. Instead, let me now start adding some icons and say, let's see what's what are we actually working on? Because we want, let's see, where's a good construction? Under construction. They are an amazing thing, and I wish more people would consider using app code instead of Xcode. Let's see, I want an under construction icon. That's okay, I guess. Hammer time. Nah, we'll go with a hammer. Actually, no. Well, I like the person working this. Can't touch this. All right. So the way that they do it with sticky notes, actual sticky notes, is to just draw a couple of border things on the borders to have it really pop out that this is what's in progress, and then for here I'm going to use an icon instead, and it's like, okay, we need to work on that, or actually we started to work on that because we were working on that. We're working on that. We're working on that. Working on that. Working on that. And as we finish stuff, we can say, hey, come back here. Let's get a check mark. How about a nice big circle one? So it's like, this is done. Okay, this is under construction. Let me make this nice and big. This is done. Whoops. This is done. This is under construction. And then finally, this is done. And as soon as everything in one tier is done, well, then its parent is done. And here's the cool part. Ready? This is what would make a product owner maybe scream. Say, okay, then all these are superfluous details. And they go away. Boop. They're gone. And now the product, well, anybody on the team, not just the product owner, anybody can come by and quickly look and see, okay, what's going on? Okay, preferred style is done. Cool. Popover's next. What are we working on in Popover? Oh, I got warm coffee done. So let me test that. So that's done. What's happening in here? I think this is where I start. Once you start to work on something, then you break it down and say, what do we need to do inside of here? And this is sort of where I am, and I'm not sure that this is a task. Extra properties on this. They're running out of room here, so let's there. I don't think this is actually worthy by itself. Now I can see what needs to happen. Ha ha ha. And here's our view. If we were on a team, it would be very clear where folks could pile in and start working on. You'd start working on this one. No ambiguity, very clear. Warm coffee is done. Preferred style is done. But we're still working inside of alert verifier. We're still working inside of UI alert controller. Woo! And that's it. No coding today except for the confusion around what I fixed to bring that test back online. The good part is that now I can push that. Actually, I have both an Objective-C side, a Swift side, and an Objective-C side. So let me rerun the tests over on the Objective-C side. They are good. So I can actually push what I've got here. And that's important. Because if this, say, you know, not just because I'm that normally someone you work on in a team, it's that if my laptop gets destroyed and its backups get destroyed, then at least the source code is up in the cloud somewhere. All right. Wow. Actually, let me keep this up here. Any questions or thoughts about this style of working called a discovery tree? It's like story mapping, except, and I think, yeah, story mapping also works in a sort of hierarchy, but story mapping, I think, gets really chaotic. It can get chaotic if you keep everything up there. The interesting technique here was to say, as soon as all the children of preferred style were done, pop them off. They are now, it's now too many details that we don't need. We get only the details we need. And now I know where to go. I need to work on extra properties. And really, I should do that and keep it working over on the Objective-C side. All this, the swizzling and stuff, instead of disabling a test, I want to get the swizzling of UI popover presentation controller working and have it over the stuff still pointing on the Objective-C side, but have it use the new swizzled version. And then I can convert it. Let's see. What we got here. So questions, this will be helpful to track the progress as a viewer. Yeah, that's true. Similar to how a PO or PM would. It will help you start up next time. Absolutely. I lost context. There was too much here to keep inside of my brain. And this is a simple thing, I thought. Do you add to the tree as you go along, or try to add all the details at the beginning? So you add as you go along. Specifically, I'm not going to task out anything about the presentation verifier or the dismissal verifier. That's later. Here, I'm not going to task out what comes in alert action or UI view controller. Those will come later. Another interesting thing about this is that apparently it can help with forecasting to say, well, how much time have we spent? And how complete are we, rather? And there's they use just a technique to say, well, divide, like do a little bit of math as far as like how much each little thing contributes to say how far along are you. Go check out that article. It's really good. I think this is enough for one day. This will certainly help me get up and running better. Rick, you say, I like the idea of adding to the tree as you go along. It will help you keep focused on the task at hand. Yeah. Yeah. Also, it honors the principle that work is discovered in the process of doing it. That's how this started. You know, it's like, okay, I need to do alert verifier. Oh, I'm going to do alert controller. And I thought that would be easy, and it wasn't. I'm going to just do the initializer. Whoops, preferred style. Okay. And I thought that's solved. And I wasn't done. So we keep adding to it. And that gives everyone involved in the project up to date about like what's going on. Where do we need to work? You discover that as you go. You don't do big design up front because that's waste. All right. Thank you so much for bearing with me during this crazy stream. And if you followed along, thank you to my intrepid viewers actively participating and keeping me on focus and asking good questions. If you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to do all the usual things. Give it a like. That helps. Subscribe. That way you know what's coming, and ring the bell so that you get a notification every time I post a new video. My voice is done. Take care, y'all.